Offers can be submitted by email in New York City. Let's do an example. First, please search for the address of the property your customer wants to place a bid on. Let's do this for an example. The first step is to find out who the listing agent is. Now, we're doing this example on one of our own listings, but let's assume that Robert is the listing agent and we are going to pretend to be Kelvin here at office hours. First, you'll need to find the listing agent's email address. If you can't find it readily, simply Google the agent's name and you should be able to find an agent page on some website which gives you the agent's corporate email address. And you'll actually be able to find, usually on their brokerage website, an agent profile which will give you their email address. Now you have this, copy it. Remember to press enter, so otherwise it won't send to anyone, in Zoho at least. In this example, we haven't set up an email signature yet, so we'll do this for Kevin. Remember to go through your training. Your first training article, Getting Started, will actually give you a sample email signature that you can use. You'll see your email signature now appears. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it this way, but we always like to put the address and at least the client's name on here so the listing agent can organize offers if there are more than one and know which client it is on behalf of. For this, you can take a look at one of our training articles, how to submit an article for a sample offer email template you can use, or you can simply just create it on the fly. As you can see, it's there is no standard offer email. What you typically need are a few things. Obviously, you should address it to the listing agent, and you should have the price, the address, the client's legal name again there, and whether the client is utilizing any financing. In this example, the client is purchasing all cash, but if the client were to utilize financing, you would then simply say the client intends to put up to, say, 20% down or 25% down, 30%, whatever they could comfortably put up to. They don't necessarily have to when it comes to it, but it makes your offer appear stronger if you can say they have a liquidity to put up to 30% down or 40% down, whatever it might be. And then you also want to note any contingencies that the client might have. Now, per your training, the standard contingency in New York is the financing contingency, especially when you are buying a condo or a co-op. So that is the most standard contingency, financing, whether they want this financing or mortgage contingency or not in the contract. If they are purchasing all cash, obviously they are non-contingent, and even if they are using a mortgage, they could potentially not want a financing contingency. So this is something you should discuss with your client. There's lots of resources online about this contingency. Simply Google it if you have any further questions. And lastly, you should also note what you've attached to this document. So one of the important things, as we've done below, as you can see, is a revenue financial statement. Now, a revenue financial statement is essentially a 2-page personal financial summary that is quite standard in New York City for offer submissions. Not just co-ops, but even condos and houses. Listing agents typically will demand to see this to make sure that they're not wasting time negotiating with someone who may not be qualified. So in this particular example, a client was savvy enough to simply include a link to where their revenue financial statement is. Now, that's great if they can do that, but a lot of folks will simply fill out an Excel or PDF revenue financial statement and send it to you. This is what a revenue financial statement in Excel format looks like. This is the first page. Go to the second tab. This is the second page. Sometimes clients have been able to get away with not even filling out part of the second page, but we recommend being thorough, filling out both pages, and e-signing if possible. You can find blank copies of this revenue financial statement online simply by Googling or even going to our agent materials section, where we'll have a link to a downloadable Excel version. As you can see, you should also include the attorney's contact information if available. This is very important because if you do get an accepted offer, the next step will be the seller's attorney will send a draft purchase contract to the buyer's attorney. So presumably if you have an attorney already lined up for your buyer, the buyer will be seen as more ready to do a deal, and the seller's attorney will be more easily able to immediately contact the buyer's attorney to get the deal rolling. However, if your buyer hasn't selected an attorney yet, this does happen. You can sometimes simply just delete the section and say, we have an attorney on standby ready to review a contract ASAP, and leave it as that. You should also include a short biography if possible for the buyer. It shouldn't be more than a paragraph in length and can be simply a short professional and personal history of the client. So just to recap, offers in New York City and in New York in general can be made via email. You do not need to fill out a standardized form. There is no standardized form. Some listing agents may ask you to fill out a submit offer form. These are generally a revenue financial statement in disguise, essentially. So if they really do require it, you can fill it out. Essentially, it would be a revenue financial statement with offer details such as what the price is and any contingencies on that same form. If that is the case, you can fill that out, but even then, it's still nice to also include the basics in an email such as this. So essentially, to recap, a offer email in New York City is by email. The pertinent information is in the email itself, and you also attach a few important documents. So first and foremost, you should attach a revenue financial statement. If the buyer is financing, you should also attach a mortgage pre-approval letter. If you can't get a mortgage pre-approval letter yet, a mortgage pre-qualification letter is something, though it's not as legitimate as a pre-approval letter. So those are the two most important documents. And then you should also, of course, in the email itself, stipulate the price, obviously the address, the client name, if the offer will be financed or made all cash, if it will be financed, how much the client anticipates putting in a down payment for now, and whether there are any contingencies. And again, the most common contingency is the financing contingency. And if possible, you should also include the buyer's attorney contact information and a short biography. And that's it. So once you have all of this, simply hit send. And of course, if you're working on a company source transaction, please remember to copy us as well. Remember that MonSky is one of the very few firms in the city that provide verified buyer and seller leads and referrals to our own agents, and we are the only firm that we know of that has in-house seller transactions. So if you're interested in joining a team that is known for working on luxury residential sales, we do 100 plus sales deals per year, and we offer very competitive commission splits up to 100%, starting from 75% to you for your independently sourced and executed transactions. Please shoot us a note. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much. And of course, please hit like and leave any comments below if you have any questions, and we'll make sure to get right back to you. Thank you so much for watching.